In other words, you don't know what to do with the emotions that come and you don't know how to handle them. So as soon as an emotion comes in, it overwhelms you, it overtakes you, and you do things like taking a dump on somebody's bed. You see what I'm saying? Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Coach Frank, and I help people recover from breakups and divorce. And as you can tell, we're in a little bit of a different setting right now. I'm in my parents' backyard, but I just wanted to film this video very quickly because, man, did we just have some exciting times and some honestly pretty sad times watching the whole Johnny Depp and Amber Heard just situation. It's just not good at all. So there's a couple things that I wanted to hit on to just encourage you and just to raise our awareness of lessons that we can take from what we just saw. Let's not waste this experience, right? Because if this just kind of happens and it was just all we get from it is memes, then man, we're not growing. So let's try and see what we can learn from this. Man, I'm already sweating out here. It's so hot here in Texas right now. But first off, what I want to hit on is the simple fact that a lot of people think that status or money or having some sort of clout is going to help you, right? And a lot of people think this even just by going to the gym and getting a really good body, that is going to be enough healing on its own. And here comes Genesis. If you're on my Instagram lives, you've met Genesis quite a bit. Come on, girl, get down. So as I was saying, a lot of people think that if I can get to this peak state in my life, whether that's my body, whether that's clout, whether that's money, that I'll be good and that I'll attract somebody that's gonna be good for me. I don't think you can get much more clout and fame and money than, let's be honest, Johnny Depp. I mean, this is Captain Jack Sparrow, for crying out loud. And let's be honest, one of the most handsome men alive, right? Women go crazy for him. Some men want to be him, right? If that's your style. But at the end of the day, I want you to notice something. It doesn't matter how much money they had. It doesn't matter how much fame they had. It doesn't matter how well known they were. And it doesn't matter that they attracted somebody who had the same qualities that they had as far as material stuff. It did nothing for the relationship. If anything, it helped cover it up even more, or probably led them to feel like, man, I gotta stay in this longer because of the status that I have. And it cost them to actually end up tolerating stuff that they should have never tolerated, which is actually the second thing that I wanna start talking about, okay? First off, I wanna end on that. It doesn't matter what you achieve in this life. That does not mean that you have healing, and that does not guarantee that you're gonna get a healthy person or that you're gonna show up as a healthy person. That is not doing the work. So many people get it mixed up, okay? So many people think that if I just build an incredible life, I will be good. Yes, that's part of it, but that's only part of it. It's not all of it. Creating a life that you love and that you just look forward to every single day is part of getting over a divorce or a breakup. Yes, that is probably one of the final pieces. But a lot of the other pieces is discovering what's making me feel what I'm feeling right now. And it's becoming emotionally not just intelligent, emotionally not just aware, because we have a lot of people that are emotionally aware, but you're not emotionally fit. In other words, you don't know what to do with the emotions that come and you don't know how to handle them. So as soon as an emotion comes in, it overwhelms you, it overtakes you, and you do things like taking a dump on somebody's bed. You see what I'm saying? It is because they're not emotionally fit. That is part of the healing process that you need to go through. What am I feeling and why am I feeling it? And whenever I discover why I'm feeling it, usually it's created in here, all the time, it's created in here. Is that true? And why am I accepting that as truth? And what is actually true? And what is it that I want to accept to get me to where I want to be? And no, that does not mean blaming your ex, because that's usually where we go. We go, well, it's not true that I wasn't good enough. They weren't good enough. That's not how this thing works. If you're pushing blame onto your ex, you're not taking responsibility for the way that you show up and how you show up. And at the end of the day, if to this point, you've had nothing but toxic relationships, all of those exes have one common denominator: you. Okay? So I think it's okay to be honest with ourselves and evaluate what is going on? What is making me do the things that I do? And if you're one of my clients or if you're interested in working with me, I walk all of my clients through a really incredible process that I actually walked through with Coach Tony Robbins. I'm sure you've heard of him before. But it's about our basic human needs. And then we discover why we do the things that we don't like to do and how we can start breaking those patterns and creating new patterns so that we completely turn around all of our habits that we don't like to meet the needs that we are meeting subconsciously through a negative effect, which is usually what you see in situations like this. For example, with Johnny and Amber, okay, or Captain Jack Sparrow, there were specific needs that they were meeting within themselves in a negative way. And was it right? Absolutely not. But was that need being met? Absolutely. If you want to, you can go to my Instagram. I have a live that I did on there, and I talked about the school shooting that just happened, and I literally broke all of this down because if I did it right now, it'd take like 30 more minutes. But I want us to take this lesson, okay? The simple lesson is that no amount of fame, no amount of money, no amount of clout, no amount of achievements is going to make us healthy or put us in a healthy relationship. B, we need to start looking inward because we have needs that we need to meet. And we meet those needs in positive and negative ways. And if we're not happy with the negative ways that we're meeting it, then we have to understand, awareness is key, what's happening so that we can then change the pattern. Everything that we do is in patterns. You get into an emotional state because of a pattern. And then now because you're in that emotional state, you do certain things that you don't like to do. This is why when you feel great and you're just having an incredible day, you show up as you and you have great days. In other words, you're experiencing great days. And it's because you're in a better emotional state. So what if you learned how to build patterns to constantly be in a better emotional state? It doesn't mean that you won't have issues. And it doesn't mean that you won't experience pain through this divorce or this heartbreak. But it does mean that you'll be able to address them in a better way and show up and handle them in a better way instead of being depressed and self-loathing constantly. The third thing that I want to pull out of this entire situation, something that we can learn from this entire situation, is that what you tolerate, you invite more of in. And I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory, okay? If you walk in and someone's taking a dump on your bed and you don't put an end to it and you don't say, okay, this is a little out of control, or she tries chopping off your finger and you still say, hey, this is getting out of control. If you don't put a stop to that and you don't say, hey, you know what? This is not going to fly. Establish a healthy boundary. Hey, look, I want to continue this relationship. I want to connect with you, but in order for us to connect, this is how it needs to happen because this is happening right now and that's not flying with me. Boundaries, I just want to hit on this very quickly, okay? Boundaries should be an invitation to intimacy and connection, not a wall to keep people boarded away. A boundary should be something that if you actually want to connect with me, like I want to connect with you, this is how I connect. So please come through this route. You see what I'm saying? You're giving them a plan on how to connect with you. And then guess what? If they don't want to follow that plan, then unfortunately, you uphold the boundary and you keep them at a distance, right? But so many of us are now putting up boundaries as in like, if you do this, I'm going to do this, right? And it's like, it's the right idea, terrible approach. And you're not gonna get a good result by that. So what you tolerate, you invite more of in. You've got to trust yourself. DMX said this, and it hit me so powerfully. He said, you've got to trust people to be themselves, but you've got to trust yourself to see them as they are. So if they continue to do something, see them as they are, and trust that you're seeing them as they are. And don't tolerate something that you don't want to live with at the end of the day. If it's something that's just super unacceptable, do not tolerate it, because if you continue to tolerate it, it is no longer that other person's fault, but it is now my fault because I allowed it into my life. Fourthly, the last thing that I want us to take from this whole crazy situation is that if you end up with poop on your bed, it is your fault, okay? Now, I know that sounds bad because You're probably thinking right now, how is this my fault? I didn't take the dump on the bed and I didn't tell them to. They did that. Yes, they did that. But what red flags did you notice and excuse because you were too scared to hurt their feelings, you were too scared to be mean, or you were too scared that they would leave you? Whenever we ignore these red flags, these triggers, these alerts that are alerting us, right? Whenever we ignore them, what we're actually saying is, whatever else you start to throw my way, that's okay. We can't ignore these alerts. They're there for a reason. Now, sometimes it might be trauma, and we've got to look at it and say, okay, is this actually something that's bad and something that's going to be harmful for me in the long run? Or am I just creating this out of fear? We've got to be able to navigate through those things, which is why sometimes you need a coach or a therapist or a counselor, whatever it is that you want to work with, right? Or whoever it is that you want to work with. But we've got to pay attention to these things. If we can take responsibility for the fact that, hey, you know what? I did ignore some red flags. Hey, you know what? I did tolerate some behavior that should not have been tolerated. Hey, you know what? I didn't have some conversations that I should have had. Then it wouldn't have led up to a poop in my bed, right? If we can take accountability for that, then guess what? We just took control back to create our own breakthrough. So at the end of the day, you are 100% responsible for who comes into your life. Let me leave you with this, okay? If you are not happy with the people that are at your table, or how you're being treated or talked to at your table, just know that you somehow, some way, let those people into your table. And a lot of the times, if the wrong people are at the wrong table, it is because you did not show up as yourself 100%. You did not hold up your values, and you compromised on them in order to make them feel welcome. And now guess what? They are welcomed, but the values at this table doesn't resonate with the values in that person. And now you have this hurricane of a mess where you're like, how are all these people in my life? Where did I compromise? Now, where did you go wrong? Because I don't want you to have shame on this, but where did I compromise? I hope Johnny and I hope Amber, both of them, honestly, I'm not picking sides. I just really like Captain Jack Sparrow, and the fact that she took a dump on his bed, like, come on, man. Like, let's go. That's a little crazy, okay? I think anybody would agree that that's a little whack. But I hope both of them, at the end of the day, really take some self-evaluation and see, man, where did I compromise and where should I not compromise, and show up so that I can create the life that I want, so I can create the relationships that I want, and so that I can have a high quality of people in my life. Hopefully this encouraged you. If you're interested in any coaching, if you're going through a bad breakup or a bad divorce and you're really struggling on getting past it, I've helped hundreds of people overcome it now in less than 90 days. And yes, healing does not take time. It takes action. Action under time is what brings healing, because if you just wait around for it to happen, it's not going to just show up. So if you want any information on that, if you want some help on that, then go over to my Instagram, send me a message. I would love to walk with you through this process and help you overcome this heartbreak and turn your pain into power, your suffering into strength, and awaken who you actually are. Because all this pain that's coming your way and that's been coming your way, it's been trying to suppress who you actually are. And it's time for you to step into who God created you to be. Remember, you're more than a conqueror. I'll see you on the next video.